Have you ever been somewhere like Goa, a place that gets millions of tourists, and you pull out your phone to get a ride, and nothing works? It's this weird, fascinating puzzle, and it's all about economics, politics, and local culture. So let's get into the Goa anomaly.
So, picture it. You've just landed. You see the sun, the sand, you're ready for that perfect, relaxing vacation. You can't wait to check out all the famous beaches and shacks. And the first thing you do, naturally, is reach for your phone to book a cab. But nope, nothing.
And right away, you're hit with this super frustrating reality that just does not match the paradise vibe. Getting around isn't just a simple tap on an app. Actually, it can be crazy expensive and really, really complicated.
And listen, that is not an exaggeration. This quote is from a viral video where a tourist was just stunned by the prices. Paying that much for a short trip is a story you hear all the time there. So what is really going on? To get it, we need to look at this from a completely different perspective.
To understand those sky-high prices, we have to flip the script and actually see this whole situation through the eyes of a local Goan taxi driver. For them, this isn't about a single ride. It's about protecting their golden goose.
See, in most cities, driving for a ride-hailing app is, it's a gig. It's a side hustle. But in Goa, oh no. Being a taxi driver is a full-blown career. It's a ticket to financial security, to owning a home, to a solid middle-class life. It is their golden goose, and they are going to protect it with everything they've got.
And the numbers? Wow, they really tell the story. A driver in a city like Bangalore might make, say, 15 to 20,000 rupees a month. But in Goa, a taxi operator can pull in 2, even 3 times that, especially when the tourists are in town. This isn't just a wage gap, it's a completely different economic universe. And this feeling is powerful and totally unified. The local taxi unions have made it crystal clear. They don't see these apps as just competition. To them, they're an existential threat to their entire way of life. So, with tourists complaining left and right, the government obviously had to step in. They tried to walk this tightrope, to find some kind of middle ground, but it was a compromise that was pretty much doomed from the start.
Not long ago, the government put out a draft policy. The idea was to create a system for app-based services to operate. They wanted to modernize, but, and this is a huge but, they also wanted to build in some serious protections for the local drivers. And you can really see them trying to thread the needle here. I mean, the proposed rules were incredibly driver-friendly. Drivers would keep 100% of the government fare, no commission to the app company. Plus, things like mandatory health insurance and getting paid within 72 hours. On paper, it looked like a fantastic deal for them. But here's the twist. Even with all of those protections baked in, the taxi unions were completely against it. They fought it hard, and the government caved almost immediately. So, this tells you it's not just about fair wages. There's a much, much more powerful force at work here.
So if it's not about the money, and it's not about the rules, what is it really about? Well, the real answer isn't about policy at all. It's about simple, cold, unbeatable political math. It all starts with this number. There are roughly 24,000 taxi drivers in the state, and for most of them, they're the only ones bringing in money for their families. But that's just the tip of the iceberg.
You see, those drivers are also connected to this whole ecosystem. They get commissions from hotels, from shops, from boat cruises. When you factor all of that in, the number of people whose jobs are tied to this industry just explodes to almost 200,000 people.
And here is the political punchline. Of those 200,000 people, it's estimated that about 1.5 lakh, that's 150,000, are voters. Now think about this. In a state with a total of just 12 lakh voters, that one group represents over 12% of the entire electorate. They're organized, they're unified, and they can absolutely swing an election. No politician is going to risk making a voting bloc that powerful angry. Okay, so here's the crucial point. Why isn't there any pressure from locals to change things? Because Goa has one of the highest rates of vehicle ownership in all of India. Most locals have their own car or a scooter. They don't need these apps. The only people who are asking for them are the tourists. And this quote from business planner Lokesh Ahuja just sums it all up perfectly. The political calculation is dead simple. Why would you make 1.5 lakh of your own constituents furious just to please temporary visitors who have zero say in an election? It's political suicide.
So, when you zoom out, this whole taxi situation in Goa isn't just about an inconvenient ride. It's really a perfect example of a much bigger, more fundamental conflict that's playing out all over the world.
It's that classic battle, right? You've got the push for modern, convenient technology on one side, and on the other, you have the very powerful, very real desire to protect local economies and traditional jobs from being totally upended by giant tech platforms.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with the key takeaways from this explainer.
First, the economics. You have to remember, being a taxi driver in Goa is not a gig. It's a lucrative, protected career. That financial security is the real foundation for the fierce resistance to any platform that might threaten their earnings.
And second, the politics. The taxi ecosystem creates this enormous organized voting bloc of 1.5 lakh people, and that makes any kind of meaningful reform political suicide. Tourists might complain, but at the end of the day, they don't vote. That simple math keeps the whole system exactly the way it is.
And all this leaves us with a final big question. Is Goa's model a smart way to protect local workers from the downsides of the gig economy? Or is it a cautionary tale of how protectionism can end up holding back progress and harming the very tourist experience its economy depends on? Thanks for watching.